I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
The representation of African Americans in the U.S. Congress has remained sparse throughout the 20th century. Between 1870 and 1901, 22 blacks were elected to the U.S. Congress, and all were male. Shirley Chisholm broke the gender and racial barriers and became a trailblazer in American politics as the first African American woman to seek the presidential nomination from the Democratic Party in 1972. Her legacy as an advocate for women and people of color on the frontiers continues to inspire and resonate today. The 1960s in America was a time of reform and transformation, marked by the emergence of civil rights movements advocating for equal rights for Black, Latino, women, and LGBTQ communities. While such movements were not novel to the country, they gained unprecedented national prominence during this period. There was a notable shift in public consciousness, and these movements played a significant role in changing people's perception of gender and racial relationships. The story of Shirley Chisholm happened during this era of change. Shirley Anita St. Chisholm was born in Brooklyn, New York on November 30, 1924. She was the oldest of 4 daughters to immigrant parents Charles St. Hill, a factory worker from Guyana, and Ruby Seal St. Hill, a seamstress from Barbados. In 1942, Chisholm completed her studies at Brooklyn Girls High, and in 1946, she graduated from Brooklyn College, where she earned accolades from her contributions to the debate team. Chisholm's professor encouraged her to pursue a political career. However, she expressed reservations, citing her double disadvantages as a black woman. Marked by a series of significant events and crises that left a lasting impact on the country. The 1960s is widely regarded as one of the most turbulent decades in American history. The era was characterized by a slew of assassinations, including that of President John F. Kennedy, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., and Robert Kennedy. These tragedies, along with the Cold War tensions with the Soviet Union and the intensifying war in Vietnam, contributed to the era's chaotic and violent nature. However, the civil rights movements that happened during that era have inspired significant changes in society, including far-reaching economic, political, and cultural consequences. Many prominent figures that reshaped America emerged during those movements. Chisholm stood out amongst them and became an important figure who made remarkable contributions and influences to America. Chisholm's decision to become involved in politics was made in her sophomore year in college when a Democratic leader in Brooklyn gave a lecture at a school and stated that a black person can never succeed in politics without a white person.
And was the kind of statement that was made that propelled me to show him, well, you'll see. And that's how I began.
On August 6, 1965, the Voting Rights Act was signed into law by President Lyndon Johnson. It was a groundbreaking piece of legislation that aimed to address and eliminate discriminatory voting practice prevalent in many thousand states following the Civil War. This act effectively banned various discriminatory measures, such as literacy tests, which had been used as prerequisites to voting in order to disenfranchise African Americans and other minority groups. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 provides a catalyst for change in the political establishment and gave Chisholm an opportunity to begin her journey of trailblazing in American politics. In 1964, Chisholm ran for and became the second African American in New York State Legislature. Fighting Shirley introduced more than 50 pieces of legislation and fought for racial and gender equality, the plight of the poor, and ending the Vietnam War. In 1968, Chisholm was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives after defeating civil rights activist James L. Farmer. By winning the election, Chisholm became the first black woman elected to Congress. Chisholm served as a Democratic member of the New York State Assembly from 1965 to 1968. At the time, there were African Americans running for president. There were white women running for president, but there were never any African American women running for president. Chisholm decided to take the first step in breaking both the racial and gender barriers and become the pioneer in American politics. On January 25, 1972, Chisholm formally announced her presidential bid in a Baptist church in her district in Brooklyn. She became the first Black major party candidate to run for president of the United States and the first woman ever to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. "I am the people's politician," Chisholm once told the New York Times. Just as what she said in her announcement. "I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman and am equally proud of that. I am the candidate of the people of America." Chisholm's election took place against a background of massive global, national, and local turmoil, but at the same time, a sense of hope. She campaigned across the country with her famous slogan "Unbought and Unbossed" in an unconventional method of ruling the district in a soundtrack while announcing, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fighting Shirley Chisholm coming through." Unfortunately, Chisholm's campaign was underfinanced with only $300,000 in total. She also struggled to be regarded as a serious candidate. Much of the Democratic political establishment ignored Chisholm. More importantly, Chisholm did not receive much support from the male congressional caucuses. She has noted that she faced much more discrimination during her political career because she was a woman than because of her race. She expressed in particular the frustration about the Black matriarch, saying that the Black man must step forward, but that doesn't mean the Black woman must step back. Other discriminations followed in Chisholm's quest for the 1972 Democratic Party presidential nomination. She was blocked from participating in televised primary debates. Even after taking legal action, Chisholm was permitted to make only one speech. But still, students, women, and minorities followed the Chisholm trail. Despite the underfinanced campaign and the discrimination, Chisholm entered 12 primaries and received 152 of the delegates' votes, which was 10% of the total votes. In 1971, she co-founded the National Women's Political Caucus and became the first Black woman ever to serve on the powerful House Rules Committee in 1977. In the same year, she married Arthur Hardwick Jr., a New York State legislator. From 1977 to 1981, during the 95th Congress and the 96th Congress, Chisholm was elected to a position in the House of Democratic Leadership as Secretary of the House Democratic Caucus. After retiring from Congress in 1983, Chisholm made her home in suburban Williamsville and taught at Mount Holyoke College. Continuing to be involved politically, she traveled to visit different minority groups and urged them to become a strong force at the local level. Chisholm died on January 1, 2005, in Ormond Beach. Of her legacy, Chisholm said, "I want to be remembered as a woman who dared to be a catalyst of change." In 2015, Chisholm was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Throughout her 7 terms in the House of Representatives, Chisholm was a vocal and dedicated advocate for marginalized groups. She has become a national symbol of liberal politics. Her dedicated commitment to advocating for the rights of women and minorities is reflected in her slogan and motto, "Unbought and Unbossed." She has sparked a fire of activism in African Americans, women, young people, people from LGBTQ community, and all those who had been marginalized by the political system.
When she came in, she was in a class of 10 women candidates. Only 10 women were in Congress and only 10 Black members. And now there are 153 women in Congress and 50 Black Americans who serve in the House of Representatives. She had a huge impact on representatives like Barbara Lee from California, and she considered Shirley Chisholm a mentor of hers.
Shirley Chisholm paved the way for future generations, inspiring countless individuals to challenge the unfair and make a difference in their communities. Her legacy lives on through every person who continues to fight for equality and justice. Chisholm's remarkable life and career serve as a reminder of the power of every person to make a difference in the world, no matter your race and gender.
I want to be remembered as a woman who fought for change in the 20th century.